Okay, then pre-season is done and done. Let's have a look at 5 players who struggled on the tour. In at number 1, then, no surprises with how it ended on Sunday, I don't think, but Chong. Almost a disaster on Sunday and left a lot to be desired almost every single time he's played for Manchester United. Poor on the ball, not great decision making, lost the ball very often when he got in possession. Little end product, dribbling is basic, he's a little bit on the one-dimensional side, lack of end product, 22 years of age, looks absolutely miles off the level he needs to be. I think United need to be cutting ties, moving him on, and bringing through players that can actually compete for a spot in the first team, because I think a couple of loans deep now, it's not going to happen for Chong, and he didn't show anything on the tour or on pre-season that made me think otherwise. Secondly, I'd say Alanga. I think Alanga has got a lot of very, very good attributes about him, but he hasn't developed a box of tricks. He hasn't developed a quality in the final third. You get a lot of leeway as a youngster coming on. People looking for you to try hard, put the effort in, and you'll get a lot of grace by doing that. As you enter your second and third season, we want to start seeing what can you actually bring to the table rather than not disappointing. That's the thing. When you bring a young player on, you want to know that they're brave enough, they're going to be willing to take people on, that sort of stuff. What you don't want is to see them shrink and cost you points and stuff. Now, Alanga hasn't done that. He's not cost us points. He's been a bit of an asset, and we forgive like the missing quality, but at some point you have to see that quality come to the top. His work rate and pace are his main 2 attributes. To be even a squad player at Manchester United, I do think you need a little bit more. I think he's just short of the required. 4 goals and 2 assists in 29 appearances tells you where he's at for that. It looks like he's lacking a little bit technically. And for all of the work rate, I think that we have to be looking at a more rounded technical footballer if we're going to have people like that in and around the squad. Number 3, Scott McTominay. And we've got 3 academy players straight off the bat here, which is worrying in a sense, but it is what it is. I think Scott's still a level below the level that's required to be a Manchester United player in midfield. I think you need such a proficiency and such a football brain and an ability. I just don't think Scott's got the range of passing or vision to play in that sort of area. He's got all guts and glory, which that's an attribute. Sometimes in a big game, that will get you over the line. But if you 80-20 this sort of thing, 80% of the time, he's not going to be up to the standard. When you wonder why Manchester United can't move the ball through the thirds with the same sort of crisp efficiency as some of the best teams in Europe, this is why. I generally have no dramas with Scott being part of the squad going forward, and to use him at the right time, the right tool for the right job. And I was just having lunch with Ben and talking about if United go with Eriksen, let's say we get De Jong over the line, it was Eriksen, De Jong and Bruno. That's a very, very football playing midfield. And I worry for us in the bigger games, are we literally going to try and play through City and Liverpool? That doesn't feel like it'd be beneficial to us. Worry that we wouldn't have enough defensive covering. That's the kind of game that you bring Scott McTominay in for, and the guts and the glory that he brings sometimes can get you over the line. Generally, his best performances have been in that type of game when it's about running around and fucking launching people. But when you want to be able to play against teams that are going to sit back against us, when you're trying to run pick a low block, you ain't the man for that job. Squad player at absolute best, and I'm fine with that. But I don't want to see him starting week in, week out. 26 years old this season. We know where his ceiling is. He can probably stick around and be a Manchester United squad player, and I think everyone will be happy with that. But if he's starting week in, week out, we've got problems. Number 4, Tellez. At the start of the season, or the start of the tour when we brought Malacia in, I said I thought Tellez would be the one that was easiest to get rid of. Obviously played across Europe before, not been at the club too long, quick flip, get a bit of money back on him, and move on. I thought Luke Shaw would be harder to get rid of. I think he's on substantially more in terms of wages. So I think when you bring Malacia in, Tellez was the easy cut, really. It was the very easiest one. Probably dropped to third choice left back at the moment, maybe even fourth. Definitely surplus to requirements. Hadn't really done himself much favours. Admittedly played out of position. I mean, playing him at centre half and in the six and all the rest of that, you're not going to see what he's like as a left back. But that just tells me the writing's on the wall for the guy, and they're clearly trying to ship him on. Isn't great defensively. Has got a hell of a cross on him, but I don't know if he's dynamic enough to get forward and back to the sort of levels that I think Ten Hag wants. To be honest, I think at times he was better than Luke Shaw, but I think he's going to be easier to move on, and for that reason, I think he probably will get moved on. But by the same rule, he didn't impress on tour. Mitigating circumstances of not really playing in the same position aside, he didn't impress. So I can definitely see him being shipped on. And finally, wan-bissaka. He played like he had a foot out the door, and there was a lot of talk as soon as Ten Hag came in that he was straight on the transfer list. Knowing the type of football Ten Hag wants to play and seeing who he's bought, Malacia, Martinez, Eriksson, what have they all got in common? They're footballers. They're players that are comfortable in possession. That should tell you what he's looking for out of his team. And wan-bissaka isn't that. He's got some attributes, but he hasn't really developed since he's been at Manchester United like we thought and hoped he could do. We thought, do you know what? All right, I say I thought what we saw at Crystal Palace, what we saw out of him at Crystal Palace, I was filling in the gaps that we didn't see. At Crystal Palace, what you expected to do, defend first, be quite direct, that's it really. Give it to Zaha and he's going to do the rest. And he did that job phenomenally well. So you fill in the gaps and go, okay, when he comes to United, he is going to be in possession a little bit more, but the guy used to be in a winger at an academy, right? And it's a pretty good academy, if I'm being honest. So I assume he's got some level of technical ability. Well, no, not really. Very one-dimensional. Poor. I mean, I know he released that footage of him working hard in pre-season, which is admirable to see that he's working hard. It should be the minimum standard, but not enough players are doing that. Very one-dimensional. Wasn't an impressive sort of training video. See a lot of them training videos. Follow a lot of the players and coaches that are out there doing those one-to-one sessions. I've attended some of those one-to-one sessions with Premier League players. Seeing what they're like up close is brilliant. Really makes you understand the difference of when one of my lads is looking good. They might hit a ball 1 in 20 times as good as a Premier League player might hit it 19 out of 20 times. There's a noise to him. There's a to it. Wan-bissaka did not look, in possession at least, as sharp as some of the... for example, I've just sat here and I've said I don't think Falanga's got the ability and the quality to be able to do it for Manchester United. Go and look at the video. I'll try and find it for you. I'll link it in the description if I do find it. Go and look at the video Alanga's just posted of him running cone drills and beating mannequins and stuff like that. Look at the technical ability on display from him, and he's not good enough. And then go and watch the video wan-bissaka did, and you just go, they're not even playing the same sport. Laird is miles better than him in possession. And I wouldn't be shocked if Ten Hag wanted to take the gamble of someone that was so much better in possession, so much better in the final third, and thinking that we can train him to be defensively better. I mean, Ethan Laird's not exactly a problem defensively, and there's more to defending than just slide tackling. Wan-bissaka's got this freakish slide tackling ability, and the timing of such is almost genius level. I've never seen anything or anyone like it. But there is more to defending than just slide tackling. I've seen people say play him at centre half. Centre halves don't make tackles. I don't know what you're watching. Centre halves do not make they don't make tackles. His heading ability is not good enough. His positional awareness is not good enough to play centre half. And the same people play him in the six. You've got to be a player to play in the six, a baller to play in the six, and we've established wan-bissaka is not that. He had a poor tour. He might have been told he's surplus to requirements. He certainly played like he was surplus to requirements. He's barely featured, and when he has, he's disappointed. So that's my 5 who struggled on pre-season. We're going to do 5 that we thought impressed on pre-season, but get in the comments. Give me your 5 that you thought struggled on pre-season if you've got anyone different to this list that I've got. We'll see you in the next one.